Hello, and today I'd like to take you through the new to me PowerEdge R720 and how I'm building it out for a machine learning server. I just want to put this in there first. I bought this machine in the UK. Other parts have come from various locations, but I am not affiliated with any company or any YouTube channel. I will be mentioning another YouTube channel in my video because it's just been extremely helpful. So I'll put the links to those in my video and in the description. But yeah, as you can see, it's an R720 with 8 bays, SSDs in there, and I'll take you through the rest of it now. Thank you. So as you can see, this is a fairly deep server. It's temporarily located here whilst I've been commissioning it. It's not its permanent home, obviously it's where my radios live. For little test experiments when I want to do a bit of spectrum coding, or as you can see in the background, a bit of Python programming on the RPI 400 there. So I'll use this area just to get the server built and all put together, which I'm pretty much done now, and that's why I'm ready to make this video. I'll take you through all the things that I've done and show you the GPUs in use and why I've taken what GPUs and where. So if we just start first things first, you can see at the moment the lever's off on the server, so it should just open up. Rather a large lump of metal. Oh, there we go. So here you can see inside of the server. It's got 2 GPUs in it. They're older GPUs. One's an NVIDIA P40 and the other is an NVIDIA P100. The reason I've chosen these GPUs is because they were very highly recommended. The P40 and the P100 have different amounts of MB RAM on them, and one is good for inference, so like AI, when you're using a model and you want to see how work performs, and the other GPU is good for training, so when you want to build models. But you can use both of these GPUs at the same time, but it all will be throttled by the slowest GPU. But if we just concentrate on I start with the build first. I will take you through what I've done, and then the links to the videos that you can use to see how it's done, rather than me taking all my server apart again and potentially probably make a mistake, knowing me. But yeah, let's have a look. So I think the first thing to look at is, as you can see in this server, it's got 2 GPUs, and with that it's using both PCI cards. Now by default, the card that came with the R720 doesn't have, the second card, as in this one, doesn't have enough power coming from this socket to drive an NVIDIA graphics card. So I think this is the original one, if I look carefully, or is it this one? It's this one. I think this is the original one. So the original one, I don't know if I can zoom in and see that. Can we see there? There we are. You can just about see. So you see there, you can see the output on that is 150 watts. So that isn't enough power or enough wattage to drive an NVIDIA power card. So you need this card, which is if I remember rightly, the number is that one there. We need this card, which outputs, I think it's 250 watts. But it's enough to drive the NVIDIA card. Okay, and then secondly, you run into the problem, the risers on the NVIDIA, whilst on the Dell 720, whilst the cables will fit from which come with the GPUs, they're not actually wired correctly for Dell risers. So what I've done is actually show you the ones which I ordered first. I didn't use because I realised once I'd ordered them the mistake I made. So hopefully I can save a few pounds. These are the ones I'll put again. I will put the link to these in the video description. These ones you'll see, if this end goes into the riser, can you see there how you got those 3 yellow cables are the power and the black cables are the ground. And if you look at the other end, as in the end that would the GPU would go into, that's wired incorrectly for an NVIDIA card. Now there's some very good videos and tutorials on how to make these cables yourself, but you need to be very confident that one, you've got a good wire, and two, that you will be able to put these onto the sockets, or your joins are really good, because these graphics cards pull quite a few amps, and if you've got any kind of weakness in the cable itself, obviously that's one, it's a potential hazard for your server, but also you could when it's drawing so much current, and even if it's wired correctly, you could potentially have an issue later on, which is why I stuck it out and got the ones which are wired correctly. So I had to order these from Amazon America, so Amazon.com. They didn't take very long to arrive at all. I think it was less than a week, and I didn't have to pay any duty or extra special shipping fees. They just arrived in about like 5 or 6 days, and they're correctly wired. So if I could show you, if I show you on this riser how you can see what I said about the cables, the voltage comes out there and then the ground is on the bottom, and on the GPU side the power is all across the top and the ground is all across the bottom. So what's important is to get these right cables and get well manufactured cables. See, these came with really nice protection on them. They're long enough to get from the riser through the gaps and into the GPU itself. As for putting the graphics cards in, I took out, I worked from very far to the front, so I took out riser 1 completely, and that gave me the space to get behind riser 2. I took riser 2 out and I completely removed the back, and then it was easy to put the whole card in and the riser at the same time. The chap whose video I will reference, he actually cut his graphics card, but he said in the comments later that obviously he didn't need to. And, this is proof of it. You don't need to cut these the plates on the graphic card at all. They will fit perfectly on their own. But yes, needless to say, it's still a very good video on how to build and get these GPUs into your server. But yes, they sit in there quite comfortably. And I've now got one GPU for training and one GPU for inferencing. But if I want to chop and change and don't necessarily need to do that, I can just pick whichever one I want. But the thing is, if you're trying to combine these two GPUs, it will only ever go as fast, obviously, as the slowest one. But if you need more NVRAM, just because you've got a large model to load, you can split across two GPUs, but it will only run as fast as the slowest one, which is I think it's the P40 off the top of my head. The P100 has less RAM but it's higher speed. The P40 is more RAM but slightly slower. But that said and done, they're still very good graphics cards, especially for someone like me that doesn't want to spend a lot of money on a 4030 graphics card, and all the money it costs to build up such a large machine. Being this server, the whole build of it was incredibly cheap. I'll put links to the sites that I used and the specification that I originally ordered, and also what I added to it, and that's what I'm going to go to next. I'll move around a little bit and show you all the boxes that this server come in and all the drives come in, because for a refurbished server, the quality and the professionalism of how it was delivered was really good. I was very happy. I was expecting a box, just a server and then a box of components, but actually included in the price and the delivery and the lead time was actually building the server. Obviously not the GPUs because they came from somebody else, but in terms of the memory, the putting the RAID card in, putting the original drives in that I used, the CPUs, that was all done by the vendor I purchased this from, and it was all delivered incredibly well and packaged really well. And what I also noticed that they've updated all the firmware to latest versions. They've put the iDRAC enterprise license on the server already. I may have just got lucky, but mine came with the iDRAC enterprise license, which I will show you in a moment, because I've configured that, and that's how I'm about to show you the screen and then the console from the iDRAC port on my own PC as if I was in front of it, which makes showing you the RAID controller and the configuration that I've used there a lot easier. But that's the insides. I guess one of the things that you're going to want to know, is this server noisy? Now, with the lid off, it's incredibly noisy. It will just put the fans into maximum, and it will, it's deafening. But with the lid on, just doing regular but doing machine learning, it doesn't get noisy. Now, I've used a script to control the thermal throttling, and I'll put a link to that and the video for that as well in my which makes the fans go on to maximum, but that's only whilst the GPUs are under load, and you don't want the GPUs to get slower. So I will put a link to that and show you that when we get. So I've been testing, benchmarking with llamas, various other scripts, just to see how well these GPUs perform, and they are really, in my humble opinion, they're more than enough for my needs at the moment. I don't need to spend several £1,000 on superior RTX boards. It would be nice if someone wants to give one to me, wouldn't say no at all, but for my needs and what I want to do, these are more than enough. The only thing I will probably think about doing eventually is buying another one of these servers, and then the same pair of cards, but then swapping over the cards so it's a pair of each in each server. But that's a little way off yet. I've not even come close to pushing what these, it's running Llama, the machine learning that I'm doing, it's more than enough at the moment. It'll be like I'd need to have models that are like in excess of 40 gig before I would think about needing splitting out the inference and the training server. At the moment this server is more than enough for me. So what I'll do is I'll put the lid back on, then I'll take you through the back, what I wired in there, and just to show you, and then turn it on and you can hear how loud it is on its own. I also do some screen sharing from the virtual console, but I'll take you through how that's set up, and then the videos on there as well. Anyway, thanks for watching so far. Hope this is interesting, and I'll give the server a spin up shortly. So I've kept the room's a little bit untidy at the moment because I've got all these boxes that the servers and the drives came in, but I've kept them out so I can make this video, then I can put them away somewhere safe and reclaim the space back. But you can see that these, I've got two boxes here. The big one on the left was the original one where the server came in. These are the container boxes that the GPUs came in, but they were packaged in their own boxes as well. Very well packaged, came from China via UPS in less than a week. So yeah, it was really good in terms of how quickly they come. But I think you can see from just how well these refurbished servers and drives are sent to you, how good a company it is. Again, I'm not affiliated with this business, but I'm just saying, they've provided me a really good service, and I'm really probably be buying more servers and components from them as I need to. So this is the I ordered originally with my server. I ordered just 2 drives so I could run it RAID 0, have a mirrored pair for the boot device, just to make sure everything worked. The GPUs worked, the server worked, and the disks worked. As soon as I saw that the GPUs worked, and I was in desperate need of more space, I went out and ordered more drives. I'll take you through the RAID controller next. But as you can see, I only ordered 6 discs and the caddies, but they sent this whole box, which is the drives are very well packaged, and they arrived in less than two working days. I ordered them in the evening and they were there a day and a bit later. So yeah, again, really good service, and very well packaged. So as you can see, it's a lot of packaging. I would suggest always keeping the packaging for any kind of computer like this, because who knows, you might need to move it or put it somewhere else. I mean, I think typically you'd want to put a server like this into a data center or into a rack, and moving it around, you don't want it bouncing around on the back seat of a car. So keeping the boxes to store things in so it can be moved is a good idea. So these boxes, once I finish making this video, will be going up into my loft along with all the other boxes I have up in there. But yeah, just so you can see how well packaged these servers are, and the discs that I additionally ordered afterwards. So here you can see the front of the server. These are the original discs. I only ordered 2 discs originally with the server, just to make sure everything worked. I didn't want to spend a whole load of money on discs and hardware if the GPUs had any issues. Thankfully they haven't. So once the server was built and Ubuntu was running, I ordered 6 more discs. I'll take one out. I can show you the ones that I've got. So obviously these aren't the best discs for the kind of work that I'm doing, but they're very affordable. Obviously it would be nice to have like SSD discs, solid state discs, but you know, for the meantime these will be sufficient, and so far they're working incredibly well. Yeah, I've got a huge second partition which is used for all my Docker images, and all the other large programs, for like, for example, the training models that Llama uses. They're all on the second drive away from the operating system. But these drives are incredibly cheap. All I had to do was to screw them in correctly to the caddies. You can see you use the second set of screws there, so that the port is nearest the back. Don't put the drive in the front, so otherwise obviously won't be able to plug in. Oh yeah, let's you can see it's detected that the power's on. I'll take you through the back in a moment. The management console and is there. So I've set these discs up. I'll take you through the RAID configuration in a bit, but I've set these discs up RAID 5. You know, obviously redundancy. So if one dies, I'll at least have one chance of not losing my data. And you know, I think there's still enough capacity there. I only use, I think it's about one drive that you lose for the parity using RAID 5, and the controller is really good. Yeah, it's doing what I need to, and it hasn't cost me very much money at all for the amount of capacity. Yeah, if you've been around in low storage, you know, I remember when 2 gig was, you know, several £100, and I dare say that the other 6 discs and the caddies that I bought were less than 300, and that's given me upwards of 7 terabytes. So yeah, really good discs, and easy to install and maintain. So that's the front of the server. My server only has like 8 drives on it. You can buy this same server, the R720, with 16 drives on it. If you knew you was going to be doing really massive and you needed to keep the models local, you could go for that 16 drive one. But yeah, for my purposes, 8 discs and 1 controller are more than sufficient at the moment. So with that, let's go around the back. So here we are around the back of the server. I think the most important thing to point out is the wattage of the power supply. I've only got a single power supply in here because obviously I'm running this domestically. I don't have dual redundant power supplies, and I don't have UPS currently. So you only need the 1 power supply, but obviously get the right one. When you're running 2 GPUs, you're going to be pulling a fair few watts. So the power supply I've got is the 1100 watt one. That's enough for running the server and GPUs. I've got the quad card, but you can see the GPU exit here, and there's the quad card. I did try bonding these to see whether I could get any improvement on performance. Because I don't have any switches that can do 802, I think it's 802Q. You know, I was left down to the basic Linux Ubuntu bridge mode, and then all I could see was an increase on the CPU and not really much more gain. So for the moment, I've just got the 1 single NIC set up, and VGA output, and then my USB connection, which goes into my keyboard and mouse, which these are very useful when I started and setting it up. When I didn't have the iDRAC set up, it was really good to have a local connection. And right down the very end there, we've got the iDRAC board, which sits in here. that is on, as you can see with the green light, even without the server being on. I can reach the iDRAC port. It has its own web server on it, and I can launch the virtual console, but I'll take you through that in a bit. It does take some configuration. I've done mine on a static IP address rather than DHCP, because if part of the hardware goes down, I've got several non-redundant network components in my network here. It's easy to lose the connection to the DHCP server, and because my network is relatively flat and I know the servers on it, it's just easy for me to set up static IPs on most devices. The ones that I do have on DHCP are, non-mission critical servers that don't do anything like Raspberry Pis and stuff like that. They use DHCP to get their IP address from the router. All the other stuff I depend on, like Git, Confluence, Jira. They're all like static IPs configured on the servers themselves. So yeah, with that, you can see that I've got my iDRAC port in there, and I can connect to that iDRAC via SSH and also the web console. I'll put the lid back on now and start the server up, and then you can see and hear how loud it is. So let's do that now. So in this short bit, I'm just going to turn the server on. The power button's very small. I remember having to direct someone in a Tokyo data center to turn a Dell server on. They had real problems finding the power button. In the end, we sent them a diagram of where it was so they could find it. It's that small. That's even smaller on a 1U server. But anyway, that's a long time ago. Let's turn this server on. You can hear just how loud it gets. Obviously, the boot up sound is going to be louder than the running sound because it's going to spin the hands up. We go around the back. So from here I can feel the main part of the noise is coming from, there we go, you can hear it now, it's just booting. And the fan noise, and remember my phone is right up against this server at the moment, in the noisiest part of it. You can feel the air being sucked in by this fan is quite something. If I put my hand over here, I could feel the air being pulled in. If I put it up here, very much, I think the main part of where the air is being dissipated from the motherboard, yeah, feels very much from here. It's quite a bit of noise from the back here, but as you can, it's not horrific. You can see the distance I am from the server currently. And that's with it just running and booting. It's not really noisy, but it obviously does make some noise. So I will take you through reboot and again the noise I get from the server shortly. By the iDRAC port, and then I'll take you through the configuration I've done for the drives via the RAID controller, how I configured the iDRAC so I could connect to it. I tried originally using the Java browser, but that didn't work out for me on Mac OS, even using my web boot. But yeah, I'll take you through that in a bit. Anyway, you can hear that's kind of like the standard noise you get from it. It's not silent, but it's not so bad that it's annoying. But as you'll hear in a bit, when I actually start doing some training on it, or just using the scripts that have been provided. You'll hear how noisy it does get, and it is noisy. I don't mind saying, but better to be let you guys know. Anyway, that's the noise of the server, and I'll take you through the boot screens shortly. Right, hello there. This is the iDRAC session into my server, which is essentially just a KVM you can use with, it's like lights out management. As I said previously, my machine came with the enterprise license for iDRAC, so I didn't need to go out and buy the license. It was already installed. I will take you through the iDRAC config, but for the meantime, just log in. Then I'll reboot the server. Of course, you don't need to add a desktop, but because I knew I was making this video, I knew it would be useful to visualize some of the things that I've done. So I'll take you through that. The reason why I've done the visualizations, that'll be on my blog as well. One thing today is you'll see with it in a windowed mode web browser that the mouse doesn't match. So if you go into full screen mode, then the mouse will match. So let's just start terminal. There we go. If I type in W, you'll see the only person I'm not logged in from anywhere because the machine's just been turned on, and I'm in via the iDRAC port. There we go, system boot still running. There we go, so let's reboot the server, and I shall take you through the how I set up the drives with the mini RAID controller. There we go. So this is the nice thing about the iDRAC. So even though the system itself is going down, you still as if you was in front of the machine itself. So that's one of the reasons why I set it up. Once this system is moved into its more permanent home. So this is now what you would see once you turn it on if it was connected to just a VGA monitor, and you'll see all the boot options. Does take a little bit of time. Can't remember quite how much memory I've got in this off the top of my head, but it's ample for my needs. I think I've pretty much maximised the amount of memory that could go into it. Something like 16 by 16 gigs, something like along those lines. But yeah, it's quite a ample amount of CPU and memory. Okay, so you can see here that we've got the BIOS. We can get into system setup, but I want to first go into the RAID controller, and I'll take you through how I set it up. So obviously sorry, not obviously at all, is it? Originally these just showed us all being online, and you can do this. What I done was whilst the machine was still on, I put the drives in one by one, so they would spin up and I'd see them inside of the virtual disk management tool. So then I was confident that I'd put them in, mounted them in the caddies correctly, and that they were correctly seated. So I've made all 8 discs as one volume, RAID 5. I've called it Ubuntu. Okay, and then what I had to do originally was to OK, then write the configuration, reboot, and then it would just write the disk configuration to the RAID controller, which is battery backed. And again, obviously the RAID controller comes with warranty and a new battery as well, so good for buying refurb. So obviously originally this had create VD, a virtual disk. Let's see what we can see. Yeah, that's pretty much what I showed you there. Oh. That's pretty much what I showed you there. Control P, F12. So I've only got one RAID controller in this. As I said, you can get 2 RAID controllers and then put another set of eight discs on that controller as well. Then you're going to have even more storage. But for me, I've got like over 7 terabytes of storage there available in a RAID 5 configuration. So if one disk does fail, I've got enough time to order one and swap it out. Oh. So let's come out of that. That's basically how I set the disks up. Oh, I need to reboot, so let me just do Control Delete, and I'll join you back on the boot screen, and we're going to the system setup screen to start with, just to show you how I configured it so it would boot off the drives rather than me having to manually go in each time. So that's next. So the machine's done its basic checks, and what we're going to do now is just go into the system setup by clicking on F2. Taking a little bit of time here. Oh, there. So can't remember if it's on this screen, but yeah, there we go. So here we go. So if I just go through the system BIOS setup screen to start with, you can use a mouse and keyboard on this as a mouse on this as well, but I'm using the keyboard. We have a look at the system BIOS. The one you want to do, so we'll boot off the hard drive, is going to boot settings, and you change boot mode to BIOS, and then BIOS boot settings. I've disabled everything else and done it so even though it's an Ubuntu machine, I've done it so it's hard drive C, and that then by default when it boots up it will go straight into Ubuntu. I won't. The way I installed Ubuntu was from a USB stick in the front. I just downloaded the server image install and booted and worked my way through it. The one thing I would say with doing your GPUs, do not install the GPU drivers as part of the build. Put the GPU drivers, the NVIDIA drivers, once the system is built. I think when you do it on the boot and build process, it doesn't correctly build or load the kernel drivers correctly. So that's why I say build the system so you can see the GPUs, but do not build the system. So if it detects that you're, which it hopefully should do, that the GPUs are there, don't install the NVIDIA drivers until you've logged in for the first time. Okay, but to go through the boot process and just to get it so it boots off the hard drive, just go into this system BIOS setup screen and set it to hard drive C. We go back. So I won't go through all the other menus. That was the important one here. So I think the other one we can do whilst we're here, and let's say booting later, you can always come back to this as well, is the iDRAC settings. So like what I said, I've done mine, so it's on a static IP address, and I've used the iDRAC port on the back of the server. So you can use one of the other NICs on that quad board. You could select to use one of those if you wanted to. For me, I just really didn't see a need. I just used the dedicated iDRAC port. The settings I think I got on here, which are kind of important. Let's have a look. Can I scroll down? Oh. Big finger in the way. There we go. So once you change any or do anything in that screen, it will reboot, and this is what you get from the screen when it boots, when you're using the terminal. But yeah, it's going to boot up now. What I'll take you through is once it's booted back up, I'll take you through how I've used the scripts that have been provided to configure the iDRAC port, so it will make the fans go faster or slower depending on how much load is on the GPU. So we're back, the server's booted and back on. So there are plenty of tutorials to go out there, including some of the links I'll include on how to install Ubuntu on a server, and also how to put the NVIDIA drivers onto it. But as you can see from here, you can see the list of NVIDIA packages that are loaded on. My machine's running Docker as well, so I'll put the Docker extensions for NVIDIA onto the system. They're working nicely. I can run containerized applications. Also, obviously, NVTop. I'm sure you guys are familiar with these tools. But yeah, that's very useful if you want to monitor your GPUs in real time. You can see that I've got both P40, P100. So just an extension of what you get from NVIDIA SMI with a nice chart in there without having to start playing with things like SNMP polling or any other applications to get these stats out of the GPU, which is what I've done previously, wrote scripts to get these values out. But yeah, you can see you can got this nice little handy tool here. So that aside, let's go back to what we've come to look at here, and that is like doing the fan control on the R720 so that the GPUs don't thermal throttle. So thermal throttling is like when the GPUs are overloaded, they will then say like, hey, I'm too hot, going to do less work. So it's a balance between like noise or throttling. So what I'll do is I'll show you what I done to get these scripts working. The tool that you need once you've got the ILO set up, or so you can remote in, is to install this tool called RACADM. So Rack Admin, I imagine it stands for. Some gentleman, this website, RACADM-bash, he's put it all up there. So the one on the video tutorial I followed uses conversion of Red Hat packages, but for me, Alien just didn't want to transform the RPMs into Deb. So I had to Google around before I started trying to remember what Perl I knew to fix it, and sure enough someone had already written a nice script on how to install RACADM onto your system. So again, I will put links to this in the video in the description, and then once that's installed you can then log in. You can SSH into the card and then adjust the settings, which is what this script here does. So I've made a directory called RACADM setup. The script's called fan control. Basically, it's very, very clever in that, like, obviously it's using the fans that are supplied by Dell, and there's no need to like replace them and wiring other fans, which I would expect to be less efficient. But again, these are noisy, but at the end of the day, it allows you to carry on operating your GPU. So I'm sure once this server is racked and in a box, it will be less noisy, but for the moment I'm just glad that I can control the fans. So the only thing I had to do was like use this script to install the tool that it uses to control the GPU, to control the fan speeds, RACADM, and obviously set up my own password file, which is just a JSON file that contains the username, sorry, not the username even, just contains the word root pass and then the password. For those that you can find it easily enough on the internet, but the default root password for an iDRAC is Calvin. So it's very easy for me to remember, because I had a good friend in America. His name was Calvin. He's very funny. So you obviously want to change that as soon as you can. You'll see in my logs that it's complaining about that password. But once this video is made, I'll be changing the iDRAC password. So here we go. So this script basically works by using the outputs from NVIDIA SMI and getting the GPU temperature out. It's very, very clever. It's a nice bit of Python scripting with functions. I would have commented it a little bit more, but yeah, for the sake of argument, it does a brilliant service in that it actually does work. I'll show you shortly. So you can see it sets the low temp threshold, which is well within the tolerance of the GPU and the high temp. So if it's running off a cron tab as per the tutorial, nothing changed there. The only thing I've done different is to change how to install the packages. So once you see the tutorial, you'll be able to follow it. But what I'll do now is run the script that loads the CPUs. There we are, GPU max load. Let's run that, and then you're about to see just how loud this. Forgot myself. So I have put this in a B end, haven't I? So where have I put it? He says. Let's try again. So if I open up another terminal and put NV top in there. There we go. So you can see via NVTop that the CPU, the GPUs are 100% loaded. And I think all it does is a matrix copy. It generates a very large matrix, and then just loops around copying it in. And that generates the load. So you can see already the temperature on the P100 is 80 degrees. The temperature on the P40 is 73. Yeah, if we have a look at the logs down here, we can see that automatically the cron job is picked up, and now you can hear just how loud those fans get. So GPU temperature exceeding 70. Let's see how much that brings the temperature down by having these are the standard Dell fans. So that's at least staying stable. As you can see, the GPUs are doing a lot of operations. RX, TX, the data going in and out. A lot of noise from the server. But yeah, obviously this script is written to load the GPU, but it just gives you an idea. What I can do is show you in the iDRAC. So you can see that the actual slowdown temperature is 82 Celsius. And with the fans blowing on full, it's staying within that threshold. So the GPU can keep working at 100% load without any thermal throttling kicking in. And the same for the P40. The slow down temperature on that is even higher. It's 92 Celsius. And it's sitting comfortably at 82 Celsius currently. So again, the load on the GPU is absolutely maximised. I haven't done any other tweaking on here at the moment, but you can see at the moment just how much power that's drawing. It's 230 watts or so. That's why you need to make sure you get these cables right. And likewise, let's have a look on the second one. Yes, again, it's pulling just over 200 watts. Well, that's coming from the PCI slot as well as that power connector. You can see that it's absolutely maxed out. If I come out of this, you can see that the temperature on both of these is below the throttling threshold. What I will do is stop the script. Let's stop that. There we go. You can see, there we are, we can see immediately the GPU load has dropped right off. So this cron job runs every minute. We should expect it to you can see that it's cooling down quite quickly with the fans on maximum. I think the lower threshold is like 45, so as soon as it gets below that, this little script will speak to the iDRAC port and then set the fans to low speed. So if you wanted a server that's occasionally noisy, and if it's in another room, even better. I think that's what the guy on the tutorial does. If it's in another room, the noise is going to be less bothering. Obviously this is in my study, but I do work in here in the daytime. But overnight, if I had a really large model to train, I could just kick that off and just leave it running. And I'd know that the cabling and the GPUs wouldn't start thermal throttling, and I'd close the door and keep the noise in. But I'll show you shortly running llamas on this server, just how well it operates. There we go. We can see that so there we go. Temperature's below 45°C. I'm reducing the fan speed. So I've seen other people make videos about changing the fans on their R720 to make it quieter. But for me, I like the fact that these are the original fans with the fan sensors in, which are supported by the iDRAC. And this script does exactly what I want it to do. It controls the temperature on the GPUs to an extent where the GPUs can still operate and they're not throttled. So that's the first bit of this video I wanted to make. Next I'll load up llamas. Again, there are plenty of tutorials on how to install llamas, but I will give you a demonstration of just how good these older generation of GPUs are with loading large models and working. So thanks again. Right, as you can see, I've got the NVIDIA running in the top screen, and in the lower screen I've got Llama 3 running with the AB Instruct FP16 model loaded. You can see at the moment, during load time, the GPUs went up, but it will only peak now when I actually type in a question. So let's ask Llama something. Tell me about GPUs. So we start seeing an increase in CPU and memory, but you can see this is now coming out of the memory and the process running on the GPU. To me, the speed of that is more than acceptable for a relatively low cost setup. It's very, I'm sure I'm going to be pushing this system with my application development. You can see just how well that's running on one GPU. So you can see, I'm sure, these statistics, so you can see how long and the performance of the GPU there. So let's do something else. Tell me about London. So I think the data set that Llama's is using is like Wikipedia and screen scraping books and stuff like that. But yeah, it's got a lot of information in it, needless to say. I found earlier just by typing in random things, things to ask it. It was pretty accurate on most things because of the data sources it was using, and obviously the speed of it was really good. You can see there the stats of the P40. GPU's busy, but it's only using half a memory in there. Then again, the temperature, just now it's peaked, but if I leave that, the fans shouldn't kick in. But if it's more, the fans will kick in automatically, and then they will cool down very quickly. And let's just see if I don't give it a prompt. Let's do another one. Tell me about Korea. The temperature's 69. I think if it goes over 70, it will kick the fans off. You can see that it's working really well. There's no problems at all down there in terms of performance of the application. Llama's is doing a brilliant job in telling me all about South Korea. And there we go. So temperature's gone just over 70 now. Noise has gone up. So let's let it finish telling us all about South Korea. We can see how quickly the fans cool the GPU down. I'm not going to give it any more instructions. There we are. That's easily a degree every 2 seconds or so. once that gets down to 45 degrees, it will set the fan speed down to low. There we are, already 45 degrees. Just give it a bit of time. The fan program will be kicked off and we'll lower the speed of the fans back to their normal running rate. There we go. So I thought this would be a good introduction to my home GPU lab. I hope you enjoyed it, and again, thanks to all the other YouTube channels, people doing a hell of a lot of hard work in being able to make these videos, so it makes it easier for people like myself who are just getting into building dedicated machine learning servers, so we can do it safely and reliably. So thanks again to everyone who will be mentioned in the links and the blog posting. Hope you come back for more. I mean, obviously I've got a long machine learning curve ahead of me. I've got like a PhD. I'll be doing most of my work is all around cryptanalysis using GPUs. So I hope that people will stay along for that and join me on my journey as I build more servers and more programming, and hope that helps people get into machine learning and artificial intelligence. Thank you very much, and I hope to speak to you and see you on the channel again. Bye for now.